the middle of a lot of these houses. I will point one out as soon as we get to one. Such as this one in the center of these two windows. Those are the fire insurance plaque. Benjamin Franklin, of course, started the first fire insurance company here in the city of Philadelphia. His plaques are white with a tree on them, so you can tell if the house was insured by Franklin if it's got one of them. Watch your heads on the right. To the left here is Penn Hospital. Penn Hospital is the first in North America. That rotunda at the top is a skylight. Underneath there is where you would have your surgery done. They would give you a bottle of rum to drink until you pass out, or a pipe full of opium to puff on until you pass out, or they just straight hit you on the back of the head with a mallet until you were out. Then you would be in the center of the surgical room while people paid money to come watch your surgery. They would place bets on whether you lived or died. A successful surgery in the 1700s meant that you were alive at the end of the surgery. Whether or not you survived any further didn't count. The first surgery done there was a gallbladder removal. That was done by Dr. Physick. Dr. Physick's patient died 2 hours later, but it was a successful surgery by the standards of the time. Last thing I want you to notice, up on this second window of the first house there, you'll see something hanging off from there. That's called a busybody mirror. The busybody mirror is essentially the doorbell camera of the 1700s. It allowed you to look into the mirror up and down your street without walking out your door. Also called mother-in-law mirrors, because you could look down, see if your mother-in-law was there, and then decide if you were going to open the door or not. The busybody mirror was invented by, does anybody want to try to take a guess at this? Benjamin Franklin, there we go. Starting to sense a theme. Coming up here on our right, we'll be able to take a glimpse at Mother Bethel Church. Mother Bethel is the oldest African American congregation in the nation. There was a stop on the Underground Railroad. Those windows are from the 1800s still. My favorite story of Mother Bethel's is that of Henry Brown. Has anybody heard the Henry Brown story before? Henry Brown was a man from Virginia. He mailed himself up to Mother Bethel. In a wooden crate. He spent about 4 days on boat, trains, and carriages trying to make his way up to Philadelphia. He finally got here, they opened the box, and Henry was free.
Hello, welcome.
We have another church that we're going to be passing in just a moment here. That was the American Patriots Church back in the day. When the British came and occupied the city of Philadelphia, they used that church as their stable. They burned all the pews inside and let the horses walk around in the graveyard doing what horses do. Not very respectful. If you notice, a lot of these graves are going to have a flag on them. Each one of those is a Revolutionary War soldier. The old Pine Street Church. Across the street here, the British did not mess around with this church because that was the Anglican Church, which was theirs. There's a lot of Revolutionary War soldiers buried in this churchyard as well. However, they don't have flags because they were British loyalists. You don't get a flag for that. British like to let their horses kind of walk around doing what they would like in the American graveyard. So nowadays, people like to let their dogs walk around in the British graveyard and conveniently forget those blue little baggies.
Mom, can I move over to the other seat?
Watch your heads.
Here, can you hold my coat?
On the corner here, you'll see the Thaddeus Kushkavo house. That is where Tadeusz Kruszkow lived after his failed revolution in Poland. And a fun fact for Jeopardy, this is the smallest national park in the country.
There, I got over the other side.
This area of the city is known as Society Hill. Ladies and gentlemen, those are Benjamin Franklin plaques. Here comes another one. This area of the city is known as Society Hill. It's one of the more expensive areas to live. However, it wasn't always like this. Back in the day, it's a little bit more dilapidated. Edmund Bacon came up with this idea where you could sell the houses for dirt cheap. But if you bought one of these houses, you would be entirely responsible for the upkeep and the renovations of it. So we had people hopping on. You'll be entirely responsible for the upkeep and the renovation of it, and that's why all these houses are in such great shape now. This is the second most expensive area to live in the city, aside from Rittenhouse Square. Watch your heads, watch your heads, watch your heads. Watch your heads on the right.
What? Oh.
Alright, that's the last big dangerous area. But we just passed 2nd Street, so it's going to make sense that we're turning onto 1st Street next, right? No, ladies and gentlemen, this is Front Street. It is called Front Street. The Quakers didn't believe in naming anything. Anything was first except for God. So this was the riverfront back in the day, but they filled all this in since. But this was also the red light district of Philadelphia. Benjamin Franklin certainly spent plenty of night here. The professional women would hold their offices in the caves along the riverfront. Real sanitary. And as we turn onto this street here, I want you to really feel the history below your feet.
It's bumpy!
That is Belgian block, ladies and gentlemen. Belgian block is different from cobblestone. This is our Vietnam Memorial. The Vietnam Memorial is modeled after the one in DC. However, it only has the names of those who served from Philadelphia. This is the USS Olympia in front of us. The USS Olympia brought over the tomb of the unknown soldier from World War I. She is sitting on the Delaware River. Delaware River is serving as our natural barrier between us and New Jersey, so thank you for your service. Directly across the river is Camden, New Jersey. In Camden, New Jersey is the Adventure Aquarium. The Adventure Aquarium is free to visit on your birthday. So, if it's your birthday, I suggest going to the Camden Aquarium there. If it's not your birthday, I suggest staying out of Camden entirely. It is free to cross over the Benjamin. This is the only open park along the riverfront now. The rest of them are all under